you mentioned before this is almost a year-long process.
Yes.
Just give us a real quick from July to March, just up to the process of getting ready to walk in and start doing the heavy work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if the heavy work hadn't already been done.
Well, the year actually would begin in June.
Mm-hmm.
Late June, we'd have our annual meeting where we evaluate and project the following year's program in terms of everything, how it went, how the venues were, how were the local organizing committees at the various cities that hosted the first and second and the regional. And then that would move forward, and we would have an August meeting, very
Mm-hmm.
brief meeting, just to set the stage for preparing for the conferences that we're going to be monitoring.
That's when you get your conference assignments
the conference assignments. And then we have a meeting in November where those are finalized.
Mm-hmm.
And then we meet again in January in conjunction with the NCAA tournament, where we
NCAA convention,
right,
and
where we would give our preliminary reading on our conferences.
That preliminary reading is basically November to January non-conference.
Correct. We'd say, well, who's playing well, who's not playing well, how's it looking in your conferences in the Patriot or the Summit or the Horizon or the Big Ten or the ACC, how are things looking? And then then we would start in January. That would be when I would really feel the urgency to start really monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd set up our weekly conference calls with each conference commissioner,
right,
and get their schedules, what games that I would want to get out and see,
mm-hmm.
and get the input in terms of where their conferences are starting to head into the conference.
When you say get out to see, how much did you want to actually see a team in person? I know you got the committee has access to numerous TVs and video games, and obviously streaming now and everything, but how much and how important is actually seeing a team in person?
Well, it's important from the perspective of the conference then feels that we're paying attention to their conference. We have an interest in their conference, mm-hmm. and we really want to see what kind of basketball is being played in the conference. And with the platforms, the television platforms that we had available that the NCAA provided for us, the ESPN platform, in my case, I had it set up in my home and my office. Mm-hmm. There was not a game played that I did not have access to on TV. Now, there were some conferences, some of the games were not, and back then, 5 years ago, were not on TV, and those are the ones that I really wanted to
get out and see. Right. Did you have a sense, last question, did you have a sense after you saw a team that they looked different in person, better or worse, than maybe what you anticipated? I think
there's a little extra edge if you see a game in person. Like I recall, I had the Horizon Conference, and for me to get out and see some of those games was relatively easy. I could come up and see Cleveland State, I could get to see Wright State, and Butler. And in those days, Butler was part of that conference, and gave you a little extra edge in terms of that team plays hard, which may not be entirely visible on TV.
Right.